So welcome to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we're going over the topic of population density. Now, population density is a calculation that states how many people there are over a square area. Now, having a high population density means or implies overcrowding or overpopulation, or that each person has less space for themselves, as you can see from this crazy crowd here. And also, therefore, having a low population density means that there's more land per person, so you're going to be more isolated. Now, to calculate the population density, we need to use this formula. So it's population density equals the population over the area. Now, the units for population density are per square unit. So those square units, depending if you whatever your area is measured. So if your area is measured in meters, it'll be per meter square. If the area is in kilometers, it'll be kilometer squared. If it's in acres, it'll be acres squared. If you're not talking about people, let's say you could be talking about cells or animals or ants or insects, then you may be wanting to go into millimeter squared, centimeter squared, or any other unit lengths unit squared. So now let's have a look at some exam style questions. So in this first one, it says calculate the population density of Boston given that the population is 650,000 and the area is 230 kilometers squared. So for this, again, we haven't been given the formula, but I'm just going to write it down here. So the population density is equal to the population divided by the area. So then substituting the values in, so this is my population, this is my area, so I just need to divide those two numbers, so 6, 5, and then just make sure you've got the right number of zeros, divided by 230, and if I can type that into my calculator, or if it's non-calculator, I may just have to do a bit of long division, but I should have the answer of 2826.08, and it carries on. So I'm going to round this up to 2826.1, and then the units, because it's in kilometers squared, it's going to be per kilometre square. So that means that there are 2,826 people rounded to nearest whole number. Well, actually, that's a good point. Let's round this up to the nearest whole number. And we'll write down here that we've rounded it up to 0 decimal places per square kilometre, which is, again, quite busy. So then moving on to the next one here, we're moving on to San Francisco. So it says San Francisco has a population density of 1,350 people per square kilometre and a population of 810,000. And the question is asking us to work out the area of San Francisco. So if we look at the formula now, if you remember the triangles, so if I just call population PD, and we know that's equal to the population divided by the area. And if I turn that into a triangle, which you may be familiar with science and force and mass and distance, speed, time, then here to work out the area, well, area is going to be equal to the population divided by the population density. So substituting those numbers in, I get 810,000 divided by 1350, and again type that into my calculator or just work that calculation out using long division, and I get an answer of 600. So it's 600, and then the units for the area are going to be the same as the ones used in the population density, so it's square kilometres, and there's my final answer for that one. Then moving on to question 3, it says the table shows information about the UK and Germany, and we've given the formula, and it says compare the population densities of the UK and Germany. So for this, I would first of all set up what country we're looking at first. So it's going to be the UK. Now, sometimes the population are big numbers, so expect in some cases your numbers you're going to be working with being in standard form. But in this case, we're just given the raw numbers, and it's given us in ordinary form. So if I just do 64 million, 123, divided by 95, and then 3 zeros, press equals, and I get an answer of 673.684, and then just a few digits there. Then if I write down Germany, and then do the same calculation, so the population, so it's 82 million over 140,000 1,000. So more land area in Germany than there is in the UK. And we do 82 million divided by 140,000. Just be careful when you're entering your zeros, make sure you've got the right number of zeros, and I get 585.714. Now I've not answered the question because the question is asking me to compare it, so all I need to do is just write a sentence looking at the population density. So here we could say that the UK has a higher population density than Germany, meaning there are more people per square mile. And there we go. So if you write m squared, it'll kind of imply that it means miles, not meters. If you want to write miles just to be safe, then that's absolutely fine as well. So moving on to our last example, it says that a town has a population density of 248 people per square kilometre and a population of 158,460. The population density is given, and we've got the formula there, and it says the population increases to 168,720, and the question is asking us to work out the population density after the increase. So for this, what we need to do first is we need to work out what the area is. So for the first one, what we need to do is find the area of the town. And we do that by using the information that's given in the first part of the question. So I know that PD, and we've got our little triangle here, we've got area. So then to work out the area, it's going to be the population divided by the popden, and that equals the area. So then from this, what we've then got is 158,460 divided by 278. And if I type that into my calculator, so 158,460 divided by 278, I get 570. So the area of the town is 570 kilometers square. So now the population increases to 168,720. So now the new pop density is going to equal, and then I use this formula. So the population is 168,720. The land, you just assume is going to stay the same, so that's not going to change. So it's 570, and I type that all into my calculator, and I should get an answer of 296. And I've just got to write down the units, so it's people per kilometre square. There is my final answer.